Hey everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar on Storefront configuring products and shipping methods. We'll be reviewing how to configure both the storefront itself and products, and then we'll look over some of the new configuration options and some of our new shipping method controls that we have implemented on version 65. Before we get started, I do want to go over a few pieces of housekeeping. We do have all of our mics and phones muted to start. If you have any questions, please enter them in the Zoom chat window. We have Sam with us today monitoring the chat to make sure we get any questions answered throughout. And then also, if there's any questions that we need to do a demonstration on, at the end, we'll have a bit of a Q&A where Sam will give me some curated questions for us to go over if there's something that we need to take a look at. There is going to be a recording of this webinar posted to our YouTube channel. We also have more training videos and all of our other previous webinars on our YouTube channel as well. If you want to see a list of upcoming webinars, you can always go to clubexpress.com and click on calendar. There you'll see our schedule for upcoming webinars so you can stay up to date on what's in the pipeline. I do want to mention there is a part 2 to our storefront coverage this month. So next week, same time, we'll be doing a storefront part 2 on the actual managing of orders and placing orders in the storefront. So more focused on the user side of it and then fulfillment for that. So if you have questions geared towards actually placing orders or fulfilling shipping on those orders, we'll be covering more of that next week as well. If you want to watch our videos after the fact, you can always go to our YouTube channel. It's just clubexpress.com, all spelled out. We do recommend that you subscribe, not just so that we can bump up our subscription count, but also so that you can stay notified whenever we have new information coming out, like version announcements or new webinars or new training videos to help you get the most out of your ClubExpress system. And lastly, we always want to encourage reviews. If you're enjoying the ClubExpress software, we recommend that you leave us a review. You can go to clubexpress.com/reviews, and there's several ways you can leave us reviews, and we always love to hear from our users. So getting started today, we're going to be looking at the storefront control. This is mostly focusing on the actual backend configuration of the storefront, getting things set up for you to take advantage of the built-in storefront. It is a built-in module, so there is no added cost for using the storefront. We will review how to actually turn the storefront on in your ClubExpress website, and then go over the general configurations that you want to do before you start adding products. And then secondly, we'll be going over all of the storefront controls for adding these different types of products. We have 2 different types primarily. We have physical products that you can, obtain physical items like hats, shoes, rollerblades, things like that. And then we'll also go over digital products, so you can sell things like PDF booklets, image sets. If you need to include any sort of digital files that you wanted to distribute to members that they can purchase, you can sell digital products through our storefront as well. And then we'll review a few other options like customizing the system emails that go out to members when they make a purchase in the storefront. So in just a moment, I'm going to hop over to our demonstration. So I'm going to be going over how to enable the storefront first. When you are turning on your storefront, I do want to mention that whenever you turn your storefront on, it is always in test mode when you first turn it on. What that means is that when you turn your storefront on, those products that you're selling in your storefront won't create transactions for people to actually pay as long as it's in test. The only way to have it taken out of test mode is to get in contact with us, either by calling our support line, which you should see on the screen right now, or emailing support@clubexpress.com. The only reason we have that barrier there is because we want to make sure that you have your payment system set up properly to work with the storefront. There's not usually a barrier there. We just wanted to make sure that no one accidentally turns on the storefront and starts offering products for sales without members having a way to actually submit payment for items in the storefront. So I'm going to hop over to my demo club real quick. So this is our Northwest Balloon Club. I'm currently logged in as an administrator, everyone's favorite administrator, Martin Smith. And to turn on the storefront, all you need to do is go to our control panel. So I'm going to click control panel up here in the top left. And if you go to the money section of your control panel, to turn the storefront on for the very first time, you would go to your configure section. And if it's not already turned on, it'll show up down here at the bottom. For us, we've already turned on the storefront, so it's going to show up right here, and it'll say storefront test mode. All you have to do to enable the storefront, if it's currently set to disabled, all you do is you come up here to status, you choose active, and then hit save. And it'll say all of those changes have been saved, and we can now close our configuration tab. Once again, that configure option is in the top right of the money section of our control panel. Once it's turned on, you should see under website modules that the storefront will show up and it will say test mode. We'll be using the storefront in test mode today. And again, the only difference is that when someone makes a purchase on the storefront while it's in test mode, it is a test transaction. And so it's not actually creating a real order. It is specifically for playing around with the storefront before pushing it to your members. And then again, to turn it off of test mode, you just contact support either by calling us or just sending us an email to support@clubexpress.com. Once our storefront is on, we can go into the configuration of it by just simply clicking on the storefront from our control panel, and that will take us into the Storefront Manager screen. So once we click on the storefront, it's going to take us into our Storefront Manager page. There are two different back-end pages for the storefront. There is the Product Manager, which right now we have the default set to go to our Product Manager, but there is also an Order Manager. If I were to click on this Order button right here, it'll take us to our other backend page, and this is where we can manage our orders. Next week, we'll be focusing on our order management. Today, we're going to be focusing on the actual storefront configuration and the product management. So I can go ahead and flip back to that other page I was looking at by just clicking on products. And so now we're back on the product manager page. So the first thing I'm going to show you before we go through actually setting up our products is the initial configuration of the storefront. So whenever we're configuring a new module that we've just enabled, you always want to look for the configure button. You'll notice if you've been using the storefront already, these buttons will look a little bit different. We had our version 65 released last week, and along with that came a few extra options in our storefront, as well as a minor actually a pretty major facelift, especially to the front end of it, but the back end also got a few aesthetic changes as well. And so you'll notice the configure button looks a little bit different now. And if we click on this, we'll see all the list of different configuration options we have. I'm going to start down here with our most important one, which is Storefront Options. This is a page that once we have it set up, we really shouldn't have to make any more changes to it. But I did want to review these sections, these tools that you can have on your website to configure for your storefront. Most of these are set it and forget it kind of thing. So first up, we have in our general settings, we have our club handling fee. So when it comes to shipping and handling, if there's any sort of added fee for your staff that manages your products and sets up shipping, you can include that fee here. That is a flat fee that is added to any physical products. So if you have a handling fee, this is where you set it for your physical products, and it is just a one-time fee that is added on top of any physical purchases. We do have this allow partial fulfillment checkbox. What this means is on the back end for your administrators, when you're setting up orders, if someone orders multiple items and you can currently only ship a few of them, this will allow you to fulfill a few of those items. So if someone orders 3 hats and you only have 2 in stock, you can mark 2 as shipped and it'll leave 1 unshipped. If you uncheck this, it'll only be able to be marked as fulfilled once you've fulfilled all of the items in the order. So that's just a simple toggle that is available for you to control how your orders are administrated. Display setting is pretty simple. This is just the button that lets people add items to cart. The most common is add to cart, but you can say, purchase or buy now, whatever text you wanted to add there. You have a few options for showing your stock availability. Some of our organizations don't keep a backlog of physical stock. They'll instead let people order items, and then once the item is ordered, they will then either make or order that item to then distribute to their members. So if you're one of those organizations that doesn't worry about keeping a back stock of items, you would want to uncheck these so that members wouldn't see that an item is, quote unquote, out of stock. And they also wouldn't see the available quantity. But if you're an organization that has, quantity limitations to the items that you can sell, you can check these so that people are able to see whether the item is in stock before they order. And they can also see the quantity available for order. The ability to order items that are currently out of stock is controlled on an item-based setting. And we'll review that when we're actually adding products to our store. Digital content, this is an option. So you can offer digital items such as PDFs or zip files or any digital files that you offer for purchase. There is a download time limit. So you can either say, once you make that purchase, you have 90 days to download it. There is a note, you can set it to 0 days and they won't have a limit on how long they have to download that item. If you do set it to, a 90-day limit, that's only a limit for when they can download it. Once they've downloaded it, they obviously have that file forever. So there's no way to make them not able to access that file after that time. This is just how long they have to go into their system and download that product. These are our product defaults. These are not going to apply to all products. This is just when we're adding a new product, are the products going to be pre-configured with these options? So is the product available to non-members? When we create a new product, by default, it will be. We can still change that once we create a product. Same with our variations. So when you're using our storefront, we have 3 different types of variations. Traditionally, we have size, which is going to be like things like shirt sizes or shoe sizes, or, things of that sort. And then we also have color is a variation you can have. So you can have like, you want a green shirt or a red shirt or, a black hat. And then we also have an other option for variation, which is a text variation. And I'll show you how to create those variations when we're actually making a product. But you can essentially say, if someone's buying shoes, you can say these shoes are laced and these shoes are Velcro. That's a variation on one type of product. You can also select a financial account. We have a lot of videos that go over our financial settings, but once you have your financial account set up, you can say, this is a merchandise item, and most people will have their storefront set up to go to their master merchandise account. But this is just a way of categorizing the money that's coming into your storefront if you needed to break down your products into specific financial accounts. Tax rates are something else set up in your financial settings. And you can say, we don't charge tax on some of our items, or if you do charge sales tax on items, you can set that up so that the purchase automatically includes sales tax to be collected. And then you can also set a quantity limit. This is just whether there is a limit or not. The quantity limit is set per item. But you can either say, by default, there's no limit, or you can say there's a limit for non-members only, meaning that, your members should know better and know that they can purchase as many as they want, but maybe you don't want the public being able to come to your website without being a member and purchase, 100 hats. And suddenly you may want to limit non-members to only being able to purchase, 1 or 2 hats at a time for one reason or another. For our administration defaults, we have our starting view. So this is what we were talking about earlier. We have the product view where you're managing your products, and your order view. This is just what page you start on by default. So right now we have it set up for products. So when I click on the storefront in the control panel, the first page we get is the product settings. If your site is already set up and you're actually more often going to be managing orders, you can switch this over to orders. And then when you click on storefront from the control panel, you'll land on the order screen first. Just saves you a bit of, saves you an extra click every time you want to go view your orders. Storefront Contact, this is the person that is the primary contact for the storefront. This is someone who will get emails regarding orders and things of that sort when orders are placed. And this is just our normal member selector. They don't have to be an administrator to be the storefront contact. This can just be someone in your organization that is, tasked with keeping up with incoming orders so that they can make sure they're shipped out on time, but they won't actually have administrative control over the storefront itself. Shipping and financial account. So this is our financial account that we categorize for the money coming in for shipping and handling. We do have a master shipping and handling account, but if you needed to change where that money goes, you can change the financial account here. Forms to print when shipping. So these are just default forms that are printed out whenever you go to your order handling. This is something we're going to cover next week as well, once we're actually processing our orders. We have 2 different types of shipping. So this is one of the big changes we had in version 65. We have our flat rate shipping, which is the shipping that we've had for a while. And I'll review that one first. This is the standard shipping we've had where, if you have a product and, you need to ship a physical product, the members would choose the shipping that they want, be it, UPS 1 day, UPS, business, expedited, but there's only one fee, no matter how many products they order or, the weight of the products they're ordering. It's one flat rate for shipping. Our new advanced tool does offer the ability to say, oh, this item is exceptionally heavy, so we're going to charge higher shipping for it. And we can also do what's called region-based shipping. So you can say, it's cheaper to ship a 5-pound object from, Chicago to Chicago than it is to ship a 5-pound object from Chicago to Alaska. And so you can have your regions set up, and you can make it more expensive to ship further. And also you can make it more expensive to ship heavier items. And then we also have our standard address where you can plug in the address of where you're shipping from, and that will give that will show up both on your shipping reports and for your members to see where the item is coming from, so they can track how long it might take for the item to get to them. So those are our general configurations for our storefront. Once we have all of those items configured, the next place we want to stop is our shipping controls. So if we go to configure, the next section we're going to look at is our shipping controls. Right now, under Storefront Options, we had our shipping set to flat rate. And so you'll see I have all of these options here. And so we have our UPS 1 day, FedEx 2 days. These are just examples of the names you can choose. And next week when we go over ordering, you'll see the drop downs where these show up. What you're doing here is saying if you're going to use UPS shipping 1 day, it's $25. And this is just a flat fee, no matter what items they purchase, no matter how many items they purchase. It's just a $25 shipping fee, regardless of how many physical products they're ordering. And so obviously that caused some problems with some of our members, which is why we've had such a big update allowing for those types of things. So once we're adding a shipping method or editing an existing shipping method, it's pretty simple. We just tell it what kind of shipping it is. We can choose to apply tax to shipping as well. We mark it as active. Once it's marked as active, someone checking out in the storefront, this will show up as one of their options for shipping. And then how much it costs to ship. This checkbox right here, apply amount limits. We do have one control for shipping amounts. What we can say is this is only available if someone is ordering within this range of money. So we can say if you're ordering more than $100 worth of products, if you're ordering between $100 and $5,000 worth of products, so essentially over $100, we can say shipping is free. So anything that falls in between these two numbers, lower and upper, this is how much it would cost to ship with this type of shipping. So if I were to save this would mean UPS 1 day shipping is free, costs $0 if someone is buying something from the storefront for something over $100 and under $5,000. And so that's just one way that you can, with the flat rate shipping, control the shipping methods available to people making purchases. And you can also control the order that those shipping methods are available. I do want to go back and now switch to advanced shipping and talk about that for a little bit, because this is probably going to be a better form of shipping for organizations that are sending out a lot of physical products. So now I'm going to go back to my storefront options and I'm going to change my shipping method to advanced. And we will go to our configure. And now when we click on shipping, we're going to get a completely different screen. This is our advanced shipping method controls. When we click on manage weight ranges, what this is doing is it's asking, what are the ranges in weight that we have for our shipping? So we can say the total products are measured in grams, kilograms, ounces, or pounds. And then we can say our ranges are between 0 and 5 pounds, 5 and 10 pounds, 10 and 20. And you can change these weights to whatever you want them to be. And you'll note when I change the upper limit on one range, it changes the lower limit on the next. So if I say the next range is 5 to 10 pounds, but I actually want it to be 5 to 15. My next range is 15 to whatever I enter here. And so I can say it's actually 15, to 30 pounds, and then 30 to whatever upper limit. The last one will always be unlimited, just to allow people to purchase as much weight in products as they want. But this allows us to change the shipping cost based on how much an item weighs. You can reduce or increase the number of ranges you would like. And so you can say, oh, we only really do, under 5 and over 5. And so if it's under 5 pounds, we get one price. And if it's over 5 pounds, we get another. And we can save this. And you'll notice this little table down here changes. So now we're looking at under 5 pounds and over 5 pounds. If we go to manage our shipping methods, you'll see a very familiar screen, except for it doesn't have the prices. And so we still have that same UPS 1 day clubhouse pickup can always be free. That means they're coming to pick up the item at our club's clubhouse. And we have these different payment types, FedEx, UPS, and just our default shipping. These are still the same methods we set up earlier, but instead of setting the price here, once we have our shipping methods selected, we can actually set the prices by region as well. And so we can say, Right now, our region is selected as Alaska. The way we name these different regions is by clicking on Manage Regions. And we're going to see a new tool that we're actually really proud of is this region creator. And this is a list of regions. What we do is we have this region creator tool. So when we're adding a region, we get a map. The default map is the map of the US because most of our clubs are based in the US. There is an option to switch to a map of the world. And you can do regions by country. When we are selecting a region, all you have to do is click on the states or the countries you would like to be included in that region. And those will be the region. So right now, if I was doing a West region, I've selected all the things kind of on the Western United States. And I could call this my Western region. And once I save this, that is now a region that I can ship to. I've got my Western region right here. Once I've set that region up, I can return to my previous page. And you'll notice I can now select Western region and I can set pricing for my Western region. You'll see I have to manage my pricing here. I can say for clubhouse pickup, if you're actually coming all the way to the clubhouse, it's always free. But UPS shipping for under £5 for my Western region might be $5. But if I'm shipping to the Western region and I'm using UPS one day and it's over £5, it might actually be 20. And you can go through and set up this table with whatever the prices are for shipping to each region. And you can get as big or as small on these tables as you want. It does get a little bit manual if you have, if you wanted to set up, a region for each state, a region for each, for each state that you're shipping to, and you have multiple shipping methods. It's going to get, somewhat intensive with setting up your shipping. But once you've set all of these numbers, that will apply to them automatically. And your members don't have to select from these options. All they have to do is select UPS one day, and the system will automatically calculate how much the weight of what they've ordered is. And they'll also calculate, once they enter their shipping address, it'll tell them, you fall in this region, so it's going to cost this much. And once we've set the price, you'll see it sets up here. UPS one day shipping to our Western region under £5 is going to be $5. UPS one day to Western region over £5 is going to be $20. And then, clubhouse pickup is set to free. So that's how we configure our shipping methods. You'll see more of using these shipping methods next week when we're actually placing some orders. But once we've configured this, you do need to go through and make sure that each region you choose has prices set up for each shipping method. If there is a shipping method that does not have a price in it, it will not be an option for them. So if you don't ship to Alaska one day, you can leave those blank, and then UPS one day shipping won't be a valid option for someone sending, for someone in Alaska purchasing, a product. And you can say, you can put in a price for £5, but if it's over £5, sorry, we don't ship to Alaska. UPS one day, you have to choose, UPS 3 day by entering those prices right in here. All right. So the next configuration item we're going to look at are our sizes and our colors. The configuration for this is actually pretty easy. And once we've set sizes and colors, we can start actually adding products. But if we have different colors of products, you'll see we have product colors right in here. And this is just a simple screen where we can say all the different colors of any items that we offer. This doesn't mean that people will have the choice to choose all of these colors when they're selecting an item. It just means that these colors are what the options will be when we're setting what inventory we have on certain items. So if we say we offer a shirt, we can say we offer a black shirt, a blue shirt, and a green shirt. Just because these colors are in the system doesn't mean we have to offer a red shirt and a white shirt. And you can also control the order of these colors when people are viewing them in the actual checkout screen. Similarly, we have product sizes. There is an additional step for product sizes. So obviously, shirt sizes don't apply to shoes, and vice versa, shoe sizes don't apply to shirts. So what we have are size categories. So we can set whatever categories we want. We can have youth, and this would be our youth shirt sizes. And then this pencil, we can just change the name. And this second icon here, this little category icon, will actually give us the dropdown where we can set all of the different sizes that are available. So for youth, we could add a size, and we've simply entered, youth size extra small, youth size small, and so on and so forth for youth shirt sizes. But then you can also make a different category for things like US men's shoes, and these will be shoe sizes, which are numerical shoe sizes. So obviously, it's not one size fits all, so to say. You have to do, anything from, if we offer shoes from a size 8 all the way to a size 12, and then half sizes, you can manually say, these are the sizes that are available to us. And you just simply enter whatever text you have for that size. And you could even get things like, 12 wide, if you wanted to include very specific different types of sizes that you offer for your products. Once we set these up and we're creating a product, these are the sizes that are available to us to add inventory in our products. Finally, before we actually add a product, the last thing I wanted to show is our product categories. These are pretty simple to configure, just like we were looking at sizes and our colors. They're simply names. So we offer ebooks, we offer clothing, we offer accessories. An important note when you're adding categories is that products can belong to multiple categories. So a lot of people get the mindset with ClubExpress, like, oh, it's a category, it has to go into one of these options, but we may have an item that is both clothing and accessory. So if we're selling, a scarf, that's an accessory, but it's also an item of clothing. And when we're setting up a product, we can choose both clothing and accessory. And when someone searches in the storefront for, clothing, that scarf will show up. But then if they switch to accessories, it'll still show up under accessories as well. It's just a nifty way to make sure that people are seeing all the products that apply to them, no matter what category they're searching for. If you happen to have, a wide array of products in your storefront. So now that we've gone over those configuration items, I wanted to actually go through the process of adding a product. I'm going to start with adding a physical product. So when we're adding a physical product, it's just add product. If we were to add a digital product, it's this button right here, add digital. I'm going to start with physical because there's actually a few more controls for physical products than there are for digital products. So when we click on this screen, we are given this page where we can fill in the details about our product. I'm actually going to cancel out of this screen, and I'm going to show you a product that I already set up ahead of time so that we don't have to just watch me click all of these buttons and waste time. So this is our ballooning shoes. They are shoes that make you better at flying balloons. These are just a fake product that I made. We do get the option to put in a SKU. This can be any identifying number or combination of letters. If you have UPC codes that you can scan for your products, or if you have, product ID numbers, you can put that in here. And then in your back end, there are reports you can run that'll say, instead of giving the entire title of it in an Excel document, you can say, we need to ship 5 of these item numbers. Our description shows up here. This is just an example of what the description will look like when we put our short description. This is where we can select product categories. So I've entered 2 different product categories for this one. You can check multiple items. So we can say this is also a book. This is also a food item. But for this, we're going to say shoes are accessories and clothing. And so now when anyone searches clothing, they will also see shoes. And if they search just accessories, they'll still see these ballooning shoes. This is also the place where we can set our default weight. So we can say these shoes weigh 1.4 pounds. If someone orders 2 sets of these shoes, our shipping calculator will already determine that that's 2.8 pounds worth of shoes, and that would fall into our under 5 pounds category for shipping. The status, this is our where we can set whether the product should be available yet. So you can do things like test, where it'll just show up as a test product. When someone places an order for it, it won't actually generate a real order. It's just for testing purposes to make sure that the product functions before we make it live to our members. You also have the option of dropped or inactive. That would be, we're no longer offering this product. Admins only, meaning, admins will see this show up again, kind of like our test, but just a way for admins to see the availability of the item and play around with it before offering it. And then finally, once the product is ready for purchase on your storefront, you can set the status to active and it'll begin showing up for members to purchase. Has variation. So this is one of our options, and shoes are a great example because they come in a number of different ways. They come in different sizes. They come in different colors. And then we also can do other options like offering Velcro shoes and also offering laced shoes. And I'll show you how to set that up momentarily. And if we uncheck this, all of those options go away. And we can also say, actually, we only offer 1 shoe size, or we offer only 1 color. You'll notice when I uncheck shoes, the size option goes away, or when I uncheck size. And right now we can say, what size category are we using? we're using that US men's shoe sizes. And so this is going to offer this product in all of the variations. We have the option for all of the variations of men's shoe sizes. Lastly, we do have this featured option. This is simply a checkbox you can hit. And when people land on this storefront on the front page, you can have these items show up first. So you can say, hey, we're having a special on, these shoes. Show these featured items first because, maybe your organization sells a keychain and you really want everyone in your organization to purchase a keychain. So you can feature it and it'll show up at the top of the storefront above other items. If you leave it unchecked, it'll show up in the normal sorting. It won't show up with any sort of priority. Pricing, we can either set a price as a standard price, meaning this is the price no matter what size, no matter what color. This is always the price of the item. You can set a price for members and you can set a different price for your non-members. So this is a really nifty way to offer a member discount and push people to sign up as members of your organization. You can say, if you're a non-member and you want to buy these shoes, it's $55. But if you're a member, you get a $5 discount on any storefront purchases for these shoes. You can also just make it completely unavailable to non-members by checking that. And that way only members can buy these shoes. If we allow members, we can do that. What we can also do is we can set price at the inventory level. The inventory level is where we actually set the size, color, and other variations that we have on this product. And so if we're going to say, if you're buying a size 12, it's a little bit more expensive than a size 8. We can say we want to set the prices at the inventory level. And then each type of inventory can have different prices. So you can make it a little bit more expensive for larger shirts if those things cost a little bit larger, same with larger shoes, anything of that sort. Product has additional information. This is a way for you to ask questions. So if you're selling things like keychains or something or monogrammed shirts, you can say, please enter your initials to have your shoes monogrammed so that you can have a custom, item from the storefront. You can make this question optional. So that people have the choice to fill it in or not. And then you can also add a fee for filling in the additional information. And so what I've done here, the way I've configured this, it's an optional bit of additional information. I'm asking for their initials to have the shoes monogrammed, and that costs $5. And they've got 3 characters that they can fill in with that additional information. So what that means, for example, my initials are DED, so I can fill in those 3 initials. If I put those initials in when I'm purchasing this item, it's going to charge me $5 for having those shoes monogrammed. If I don't enter those initials, if I leave this blank, it will not charge me the $5 for having it monogrammed. So that's one way you can allow people to customize the product and bill for that. And also ask questions about it if someone, wanted different customizations on their product. You can also apply tax to this item. So you can say, this item requires tax. Again, we looked at this earlier, but that was just a default. So if there's a certain item that actually doesn't incur tax, you can say this item doesn't incur tax. And when someone pays this $50 and this $5, so a total of, $55 for a member, it would not apply tax. And if you choose a tax rate that we've set up in our money tab of the control panel, it would apply that tax rate. And similarly to before, we can control what financial account, how we categorize the money coming in just for this item. So we can have everything else in the store go to master merchandise, but if we had a special financial account just for our shoes or just for our shirt sales, something like that, we could further categorize that money coming in just for this item. And then lastly, we have a quantity control. We can say this is how many of this item someone can order. We can say there's no limit. You can buy as many pairs of shoes as you want, and and we'll fulfill it, however many you want available to you. And then you can also do things like limit non-members. We talked about this earlier. So non-members can only buy 3, but members can buy as many as they want. Or we can limit for everyone, meaning both members and non-members are all limited to 3 items. And that would just be 3 of this one item. So now that we've got our product configured, it exists as a physical product that you can purchase. The problem is we still need to set our inventory and control what colors and what sizes are available. So what we're going to do, instead of clicking on the pencil, we're going to skip right over to this icon right here, which is 3 like shipping boxes stacked on top of each other. This icon is where we can set up the control for how many of this item we have in stock, and how many of this item and what varietals of this item we have in stock. So right now I've gone ahead and set up 2 different inventories. Right now we have this option right here where we have our shoes are available. The size is 9.5, the color is green, and they are Velcro shoes, and I have 30 of them. And then the other variety of this shoe I have are size 11 in multicolor with shoelaces, and I also have 30 of those. What we can do, once we go to add inventory, we get a screen where it's going to ask us a number of questions about the inventory we're listing. And you'll see here are those sizes that we selected. We said this is a shoe size, and here are all of our different shoe sizes that we set up. So I can say now I'm going to add size 10, and I'm going to add size 10 blue shoes. And then here's that other variety where I said, and these are, blue laced shoes. I can choose how much they weigh. So these size 10s actually only weigh, 1.3 pounds. And this quantity is how many I currently have available. We do really have this nice little automatically updated quantity in carts that will show you how many people currently have this variety in carts. This inventory hasn't been set up yet, so there's no number there. Once we have this inventory set up, if we come back to the screen, you'll see how many people have this in their cart. And we can say we have 8 blue size 10s with laces in stock. And we can also set a reorder point. This is the stock we get down to where the item will show up for reorder. And let's go ahead and just set that to 8 so we can see what it looks like. Meaning once we have only 8 left, which is what we've set it to, we will get a reorder flag on this item saying, hey, we need to order more of these items. We also have a cost field. This is a field where we can say this is how much it costs us to obtain this item. This is not available to the public. This is only for administrative purposes. So we can say it costs us, $38 to get these shoes. And that way, when you run reports, it can give you a profit margin that you've made on your shoes. So you can see if we sold 10 of these, it would give you a number of how much profit you turned on this because it knows how much the item costs. Again, that does not show up to members in the storefront. They won't see what your profit margins are. Status, again, these are similar statuses to, is this type of product available yet? The default is just available. And then we have this check mark right here to allow back orders. If we allow back orders, that means even if we run out, when someone buys one of these and this number begins to tick down automatically, if we get to 0, people can still order this item. It won't get marked as out of stock. People can still order it, but you will go negative on your quantity. And you'll have to then, keep an eye on that, because if you get, if someone comes in and orders 50 of these items, you need to make sure to order 50 of those so that you can fulfill those orders. And then again, we see our pricing screen here where we have our member price and our non-member price. And this is where we can say for size 10 blue shoes with laces, it's actually, $52. It costs a little bit more for shoes with laces, or maybe it costs a little bit more for size 10. And then for our non-members, we always charge $5 more. So we can say that's $57. And then we get an extra set of special pricing. What this is a place where you can put in maybe sale prices. So we can say, oh, these are, $20 off. Right now, they're only $32 and $37 for our special pricing. And then we get this nice little toggle. And what we can do is we can say the default price for this is always $52, and we will never need to change that. And as the sales change and come and go, we can toggle this on and off. So when it's off, it'll always revert to $52 and $57, but I can change these prices without having to worry about remembering that it's supposed to be $52 and $57. That way you don't have to make changes. Additionally, when you mark something as special, it'll show up in the storefront as on sale. So if we say special, people can search for sale items and they can come in and say, oh, hey, this is, $20 off right now. I can save some money. And it's a way to kind of like make your storefront a little bit more attractive. People know that you're offering sales and they can see that you're actively updating the store with sales and items like that. Just a way to push value to your members. So once I save this, now you'll see I have this extra item line. I forgot to add my SKU there, but that's all right. It's available, size 10, blue laced shoes. And you'll see I have this reorder tag. Because we are below the reorder point, this tag shows up so that when I come to visit this screen, I can see, oh, I'm updating my inventory. I know I need to order more of these. We're below the quantity point. And as people order items from our storefront, this quantity gets automatically updated. You don't need to come in here and manually update the quantity when someone places a purchase. And then you'll see, is it marked for sale? You can get an at a glance. Are these inventory items marked for sale? There is a little bit of elbow grease when you have items like shoes and shirts that come in different both colors and sizes. You do have to create each variety and set the price for it here for each different variation. So if we have, blue, green, and multicolored in every size, we need to go in and make an inventory level for each of those different things. So we need to come in and make blue in all of our, 5 or 6 or 7 different sizes and set the price for those. But that also gives us control to manage the inventory of specific varieties of our products individually. So that's how you add a physical product, and that's how you control if people can over order it. And this is once we've set this up and there's inventory available. Now that we've set it to active, so we can see the status is available, we can see our product is active, it will begin showing up in the store. So if I come up here and click on storefront, we'll see there's my ballooning shoes. It'll give us the price range. The cheapest I can get them is $32 all the way up to $50. There is a version of them on sale. So we see this sale item pop up, and this is what the store looks like to members. And they can click on this item. They can choose the available inventory levels and how much it costs for each of those. So right now, our multicolor with laces size 11 is on sale for $35. Our size 10 blue laced shoes are $32. And then right now the size 9s green Velcro are not on sale. So those are still $50. They would select what variety they want. And then we get the option to enter our initials to monogram these, where I can say, my initials are ED. And then I can hit add to cart. And you'll notice now that I've customized these, the price jumped up by $5 because now that I'm having them monogrammed, it costs a little bit more. So that's how you add a physical product to your storefront. I do want to walk back, and we're going to talk about digital products now just for a minute. If I click on add digital product, the screen is very similar. Almost all of these options that are available to us are options we just looked at. Member price, non-member price, but you'll notice there's a few things missing. Things like weight, things like shipping, things like things of that sort are missing because they obviously don't apply to digital products. Digital products have no weight. You don't need to ship digital products. We can set the same SKU, title, and description here, same with categories. But once a digital product is defined, we want to actually decide what you are purchasing. You do not have to list a digital file for purchase if you distribute digital purchases externally. So you can offer them for sale and people can purchase them without it having to offer them a digital product for download. And you can, then externally email it to them. But you can also have ClubExpress manage the download of digital purchases manually. So right here, we have our, FAA ballooning handbook, and this is a digital handbook that will give them a PDF of the ballooning handbook. When someone purchases this, they will be offered a download, and we control that with this icon right here. So this little pencil hovering over a mobile phone, that's our documents for download option. If we click on this for a digital product, once it's created, we get the option to add documents. So right here, you see here's the PDF of our FAA ballooning handbook. What you can do is you can either add a document, and this will look at your document library. So these are all of our document library documents. So if you have a document in your library, you can set it up to be not visible to the public, so you can store all of your downloads there. Or you can go over to upload a document and upload a document directly from your computer. And then you can actually have multiple documents. And this is just our normal document upload. So you can select what folder in the document library this document will go into, give it a title, name, and description. If you want to know more about how the document library works, we have several training videos and webinars that review the information on the document library. But essentially, this is the same screen for uploading to the document library, except for it's also going to include it as one of the optional downloads. You can have multiple documents. So if someone purchases the handbook, they may get, a PDF version of the handbook, and they may also get, a little supplemental, summary, or maybe a maybe it's a multi-book purchase, and they'll have those available for download. Once someone purchases a digital item, it does two things. It sends them an email with a link to download the digital product that they've purchased. And if they are a member, it'll actually also add it to the download bank. So in their member profile, so if I go up for Martin Smith and I go to my member profile, they'll see under website functions right over here in the bottom right, they have download bank. And this is where, it looks like we've done a little bit of testing. You can see he's purchased this handbook a few times. These are all of the things available for them to download, and they can come in here and click download, and that product will become available to them. And they can save it to their computer and view it whenever they like. I'm going to go back to my storefront, and we'll talk about the last few things we can set up for our items, and then we'll do a bit of a Q&A. So if we go to Storefront, that's where we set up our documents for that ballooning handbook. You'll see there's still a few more items here for each of our products. Every product has both a formatted description and a place to insert photos of the product. So with our shoes, you saw we had those nice pictures of shoes. This is a very simple photo ad, and you can actually include multiple photos. One picture will always be the default photo for the item. So when you're looking in the store, this is the first picture that shows up, but you can add as many different pictures of the product as you want so that they can cycle through a gallery if you have different colors, if you have different sizes or different configurations, or you want to show off what your monogramming looks like. If you're allowing customization, you can upload many different pictures of it so that they can cycle through and make sure it's the product that they want. And then you can simply just select which one is the main picture for that item. And then of course you can just add photos by clicking on add photo. This select item will pull the image from your computer. And then this title will show you the subtext for that picture that you're looking at. So you can say, shoes from the left, shoes from the right, you can say laced or Velcro, things like that for shoes. You can title the pictures whatever you want, and they'll show up in the product page. And then finally is this description section. When we click on description, we are given this page where we can give a better control of the short description. It is the same as the short description we gave earlier, but here we can actually have a little bit more control. We can say, we can do things like underline. We can make links. If you want to link to a product page, say you have an external product, say it's something that you get from a third-party company and you wanted to let people know, hey, this is coming from a third-party company. If you want to see information about their products, you can see more here. You can use this little link tool and build a link to an external page. And you could put in, whatever, product page that you have the URL for right here. It's the same as the build a link tool anywhere else on our website. And that way will show up right on the product page. So you can control how the description for your product looks. And then the last thing I want to show before we go to a Q&A is finally how to, the actual communications that go along with the storefront. So if we go to our communication section of our control panel, we have something called system emails. And in this section, these are all of the emails that ClubExpress will send to users automatically depending on certain things. So if we search for storefront on this page, we have our order confirmation email, and we can make changes to this email right here. So this is our default verbiage. You can customize it and say, hey, our contact when you make a purchase is actually this person in shipping and receiving. You can say thank you from your organization. You can customize this however you want. Anywhere you see these little squiggly lines, these little tildes on either side of something, that is something that is going to automatically be filled in. If you wanted to replace something like club name, you can type that in manually and overwrite that. But for things like their order date, the amount they paid, shipping, you want to leave those alone to make sure that all of that information gets populated correctly. But everything else in here, the way, the text that shows up in here, you can customize to your desire. And then the other email is shipment confirmation. So once a physical product is marked as shipped, you can include things like a shipping number, tracking number. Those will automatically be included. And we'll talk more about the shipping fulfillment section next week when we're doing our orders and shipping webinar. But this is the email that goes out to members. This is where you can customize that email as well, include any information that is specific to your organization. And then the last bit of emailing is those of you who are familiar with our emailing module. If for some reason you had some sort of product recall or you wanted to reach out to certain people that purchased a certain product, you can actually email people that order a specific product. Whenever you add an emailing and you're looking at your distribution lists, we have an option available to you called everyone who ordered a specific product from the storefront. And from here, we can select our products. And so we can say, I want to send an email to everyone that ordered ballooning shoes. And then everyone who has finalized a purchase, who has paid for ballooning shoes, will get this email that I craft from this point on. So I can say, hey, just a reminder, your ballooning shoes have a 5-year warranty. If they wear out, you don't need to buy new ones. We'll send you new ones. Whatever kind of information. If there's some sort of product specific email you need to send out, you can send emails to people that way. All right, Sam. I have run out of steam. Are there any Q&As that I can answer?
Yes, there were a lot of questions about digital products, so I'll hold off on that for a second. Can you sort of talk about how one might delete a shipping method? So we don't have the ability to delete shipping methods because there may be financial transactions associated with them, but what can we do instead of deleting shipping methods?
Yeah, so what we can do, once a shipping method has been used, you can't delete it. You can either repurpose it into a different shipping method, or you can uncheck this box right here. So once you go into your shipping methods, you can click on the pencil and uncheck active. And from that point on, it can no longer be used. It's still there for records purposes because there may be orders associated with it. But once we set it to inactive, it becomes invisible to your members. The only thing it's doing is taking up space on the back end, and that's not a real problem because we can, storage space is very, very accessible. This is just to let you know that you once had, USPS 3-day. And now that it's inactive, no one can use that shipping method going forward.
And for folks who might already be using the storefront, previously we had some restrictions on using the storefront with our merchant account, and that is no longer the case. So if you were either using a non-ClubExpress merchant account because you wanted to use the storefront, or if you had held off on using the storefront because you were using the ClubExpress merchant account, you can now do both. So if that is something that's of interest to you, Devin recently hosted a fabulous webinar on using the ClubExpress merchant account. So if you are interested in switching, please be sure to watch that video. And there's a link to that video in the chat.
Yeah, we've been really working hard on making the ClubExpress merchant account processor a lot more attractive for things like credit card refunds. And now we allow many more clubs to use the storefront, even if you're using the ClubExpress merchant account processor. So the limitations that used to be there are now pretty much gone.
And some questions about digital downloads. So there is not a limit as to how many times someone can download something digitally. Is that correct?
Right. There's no limit. You have a time frame. You can say you have to download it within 30 days, but they can download it, 100 times if they want to. And the stress of that is on the ClubExpress servers, and we're more than prepared for those kind of downloads.
And let's see, the emailing distribution list that you just showed. So that currently, one question that came through was whether or not that distribution list can be separated out by time frame, and that is currently not available, but we will submit that suggestion to our developers. A couple of other questions. Where do we recommend the storefront appear on the website? Would you create a custom page? So the storefront actually has its own front-facing option. We're going to go through a lot of that. Devin, if you want to pull up our storefront. So this is actually what the storefront looks like. And next week, we're going to be going through the storefront as a customer. So as a member, as a non-member, to see what it's like to purchase products, especially products with customization. We're going to go through the entire order process. So actually using those shipping methods that we configured today. And is there point of sale hardware available to use with the merchant account now? So if we do have some point of sale connections. Devin, if you actually would open up the ClubExpress pricing page, I believe that we discuss it on our pricing page. And I will be completely honest, I don't know very much about POS systems. So if this is not something that answers your question or helps you out, please let us know. You can reach out to us or to our support team. And if on the left-hand side, you select the extra cost function. So this was actually discussed a couple of updates ago. This is really for organizations that might have a clubhouse where members might be, let's say, purchasing food at a country club or maybe purchasing drinks. So we haven't really discussed potentially using it as part of the storefront, but if you tune in next week, we'll talk with our developers and our support team to see if this is something that could be utilized in a brick and mortar setting for the storefront as well.
Yeah, I do know right now it doesn't integrate with the storefront. You could offer the same products on your AdMe system, but the quantity wouldn't take away from the storefront as it is currently. That is an interesting thought. We could possibly work with some sort of IDing method with our developers, but that's something we'd have to take as a suggestion and improvement in the future.
Yes, and we did get a bunch of other suggestions, like the ability to limit the number of times documents downloaded, and the ability to include a digital download file with a physical product. So if you buy a physical book, you would get an ebook with it as well. So we had a lot of really good suggestions. We're really excited to bring these to our developers, and make sure to come back next week and bring even more suggestions, we hope. And I believe that covers our questions. Devin, take it away.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, looks like it's about the end of our time. So I'll go ahead and wrap up here. And thank you guys so much for attending today's webinar. Just to really pound it into the dirt, don't forget to come back next week, because this is just part one of the two major parts of the storefront, because next week we'll be covering things like actually placing an order and then what to do once that order has been placed, how to fulfill the shipping on it, and how to manage orders on the back end of the storefront module. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.